What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. So I got a little segment for the Talking Commanders with Manny podcast. So make sure you guys go and subscribe to that podcast. So I want to talk about the backfield of the Washington Commanders. What is the direction of this backfield? I'm going to go ahead and run my intro, and I'm going to go ahead and break down what I think happens with this backfield this season. Let's get it. All right, so let's get it, man. This backfield is going to be interesting, right? We had Antonio Gibson going into year 4. He's on a contract year. So what does that mean? That means that he's playing for his next contract. And sad to say, Antonio Gibson's next contract might not be here in DC. So what does that mean? Eric Bieniemy comes in to be the offensive coordinator, right? He gets to draft his first toy, his first skill position player, and he chooses to draft Chris Rodriguez from Kentucky. Now, he is a lot similar to Brian Robinson Jr. Brian Robinson Jr. is a fine running back. He's a great running back. I love his skill set. He's a power back, right? But then now you bring in a guy like Chris Rodriguez who does a lot of similar things to Brian Robinson Jr. Antonio Gibson is rumored to have a bigger role this year. Eric Bieniemy is going to unlock Antonio Gibson. You're going to see Antonio Gibson a lot in the slot. You're going to see Antonio Gibson catching more passes than he did last year. Last year was the first time you got to see Antonio Gibson in his element, being in space. But my thing is, can Antonio Gibson get the carries to put him in position to be in space? Antonio Gibson, talented player. He's a guy that I feel could take that next step in his game. He's limited in his fumbling issues. He should still be the kickoff returner. I do not dismiss him from that role. Wherever you can plug in Antonio Gibson, great. But if the new guy, Allen, I can't think of his first name right now, ends up winning that kick return position, then that means Antonio Gibson gets to focus more on the offensive end. Now, here is how I see this backfield playing out. You're going to have Brian Robinson as the starter, as the lead back. He's the guy that offers the most upside in terms of the tough yards, in terms of creating, in terms of like you can toss him a little screen pass. And we've seen it where he takes a screen pass 20 yards slowly and gets into the end zone. It's all about putting the ball in his hands and letting him do what he does. He's a power back. So I see Brian Robinson Jr. as the first and second down back. Now on third downs, he's going to come off, and then you see Antonio Gibson. But Antonio Gibson will be sprinkled in with some role in that rushing game. Gibson is a guy that needs about 8 rushing attempts a game. As long as he's getting like 4 or 5, 6 targets in the passing game, total of 10 touches, he can do some damage with his 10 touches. Now Antonio Gibson Brian Robinson on the other end, he's a guy that needs to get 15 carries or more to be effective. If he gets you 20 carries, then you're looking at about 100 yards out of a Brian Robinson Jr. This backfield is going to frustrate you if you play fantasy football. They're going to be similar to the Kansas City Chiefs. You see Pacheco, you see McKinnon. Is Gibson the new McKinnon? And is Brian Robinson going to be used like a Pacheco? I think that Brian Robinson is better than Pacheco. But what I will say is Chris Rodriguez might be more Pacheco than Brian Robinson. So here comes Chris Rodriguez. He's going to be a guy that's going to get some first and second down work. He's going to be sprinkled in. He's going to be a back that you bring in, like if you're winning, if it's a positive game script, you wonder who's getting the ball. Is it going to be Gibson? Is it going to be Rodriguez? You can run all three. Ron Rivera wants to run the ball. Bieniemy wants to run the ball. Forget what you saw in Kansas City at the end of the day. Bieniemy did enter the league as a running back, right? So it's going to be interesting. It all comes down to who has the hot hand late into games, and also which of these 3 running backs best pass protects. That's how you're going to figure out and know who gets the majority of the snaps. But I think that Brian Robinson gets at least 65% of the snaps. Antonio Gibson gets about 35, and then whatever else is left is a Chris Rodriguez. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment, please like, please share, and let me know what you think in the comment section. If you guys agree, if you guys disagree, how do you guys see this backfield playing out? Is it Brian Robinson as the 1A and then Gibson the 1B, or is it Chris Chris Rodriguez possibly taking over this backfield? You guys let me know, and I'm going to catch you guys on the next video. Bye.